The Korg Volca Sample, the Korg Volca Keys, and the Korg Volca FM all sound great and are super fun to make music with on their own. But when you put them together, you can make some really awesome music and some really fun jams. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do in this video. We'll create a full drum beat on the Korg Volca Sample, then we'll play a deep bass line on the Korg Volca Keys, and finally we'll use the Volca FM2 to create our melody. Not only will I show you how to arrange and record each instrumental, I'll show you how you can make sure that the Volcas are in sync with one another. Alright, let's jump in. Let's kick things off with the drums. Gonna start out with just the Korg Volca Sample for now, but we'll get the other Volcas connected as we continue to build the beat. I mostly want acoustic sounding drums, something that would be appropriate to a trip hop track, but I want the drums to also sound big and full. So here's the kick sample I'll be starting with. Very bassy and sounds like it's also layered with some kind of cymbal or a hi-hat. Here's my snare. Very big, very hard hitting. And here's my hi-hat. Very gritty and very sharp. Let's start with these elements for now. I'm going to go to step mode and I'm going to put my hi-hat on every other step. This is going to kind of act like my metronome because I'm going to attempt to record in the kick and the snare. Doesn't sound like much right now, but let's record something in. I'll exit step mode and hit record. Pretty good start. I think we can make a few adjustments here. Let's go to our kick sample and get into step mode. I'm going to also put this kick on step 7, but I'm going to bring the volume down quite a bit to around maybe like 70. I'm going to do the same for step 16, bringing the volume down to about 70. Let's go actually lower, around 60. All right, I love how this beat is shaping up. I think the kick is maybe just a little too bassy and long. Let's take the decay down slightly. I think the hi-hat is also a tad loud. Let's take that down as well. I want to add some kind of rim shot. So the Volca Sample comes with this snare / rim shot kind of sound. I just want the tail end of that sample. So I'm going to move up my start point. And let's take the length down as well, just so we can isolate that one sound. I'll go to step mode, and I'm going to put that on steps 2, 7, 10, and 16. It just adds some very subtle groove and movement to the beat. Next, I've got this really noisy hi-hat. And this is going to serve as almost like a high-pitched shaker. So I'm going to take the attack up just a bit. And I'm going to start with the decay almost all the way down. Let's go to step mode and put that on every step. The reason I'm doing it this way is so that as I'm jamming, I can slowly bring the decay up, and that'll create a little bit more tension in the beat. Let me show you what I mean. Next, I've got a wood block sample. Not exactly sure what I want to do with that just yet, but let's record something in and see what we can come up with. Not bad. Let's go to step mode and move a few things around. Let's move it from step 9 to 8 and from step 11 to 10. Let's see how that sounds. My next sample, I've got this sort of high-pitched conga drum, and I just want this to be a very small part of the beat. So I'll go to step mode, and I'm going to put the bongo on steps 7, 8, and 11. Moving right along, our next sample, I want something that's going to brighten up the beat and make it a little more sort of splashy sounding. So what better than a ride? I'll go to step mode, and I'm going to put this ride on every other step. Pretty good, but a little harsh. Let's take that volume down and make some adjustments. Perfect. Around 70 is a pretty good volume. Let's also add a little reverb to some of these samples to create even more width in the mix and make it even a little more trippy sounding. Let's put that on. Honestly, I'm just going to put it on everything except the kick. So I'll hold function, reverb, and just highlight all my other samples here. Doesn't need to be too high, just something subtle to add a little bit more width. All right, so I'm going to hold function and memory, and I'm going to save this because we have just finished our beat. Now let's record some bass in the Korg Volca Keys. If you found this part of the video useful, you'll want to check out my 25 Essential Drum Patterns PDF, which I have linked in the description below. All right, before I record my bass into the Volca Keys, I want to sync up the keys with the sample. The Volca sample is going to act as the brain in this scenario. So all I have to do is connect a patch cable from the sync out jack of the Volca sample into the sync in jack of the Volca Keys. Unfortunately, I cannot get the sample to trigger the Volca Keys to play, and it's really annoying to try to press both play buttons at once to try to get these things to sync up. But there is a little hack here, and I've shown this in my other videos. I'll plug a patch cable into the sync in jack of the Volca sample. I'll hit the play button on the sample and hit the play button on the keys. And then when I pull out the patch cable from the sync in jack of the sample, it will cause both of these devices to play at the same time. Now, I do not have a pattern in the Volca Keys, but if you watch the lights at the bottom, you'll see that the sequence is playing, even though there is no pattern recorded in there just yet. Let me show you. See how this light is moving across the key bed of the keys. So let's get some sound going on the keys. I'm going to go with unison. I think this octave range sounds pretty good. Let's detune it a little bit. By detuning it slightly, it just makes the sound even bigger. Great, so I'm going to hit record, and I'm going to hold function and hit 1/4 notes on the Volca Keys. And I'll pull out the patch cable, so these will start to play at the same time, and as they play, I'll record a bass line into the Volca Keys. That wasn't bad, but to be honest, I think we need to take that down an octave. So I'll hold function, clear that out, and let's do it again, but down an octave. I'll also turn the metronome on the Volca keys just so that I can be even more precise. So I'll hold function and hit metronome. That's going to work. So I'm going to turn off the metronome and I'm going to save that pattern. Let's listen to the drum and the bass together and I'll show you what kinds of adjustments we can make on the Volca keys as we go. Start with the cutoff being turned down and open it up. Let's turn up the peak. And turn up the portamento. We've got our bass and our drums set up, so let's pull in the Volca FM and add a little bit of a melody. All right, so now we've got the Volca FM in the mix. So I had to rearrange the setup just slightly, so let me explain. It's pretty straightforward. The Volca sample continues to be the brains of the operation, so I've got a cable going from the sync out jack of the sample into the sync in jack of the FM, and I've got a cable going from the sync out jack of the FM into the sync in jack of the Volca keys. I've got this glassy sort of lead sound pulled up on the FM. I think that'll go pretty nicely with the vibe we've got going so far. However, it sounds a bit dry. Luckily, the Volca FM has a reverb function. So I'll hit function and hold reverb. Sounding a lot better. All right, so using the same trick as before, let's record in a melody onto the Volca FM. So I'm going to hit play on all my devices, and I'm going to pull out the cable to get them all to play. I think that sounds pretty good, but let's actually transpose that up one octave. And let's adjust the decay a bit. We can also adjust the reverb by holding function and adjusting this knob. All right, so let's listen to all of the elements together. And from there, we can just jam on it, making adjustments to all the parameters that we want. So let's start out with just the bass and the hi-hat with the FM turned down. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you found that helpful. Please leave a comment and let me know what other music production stuff you would like to see, or if you have any questions at all about what you saw in this video. And of course, please subscribe for more. Till next time.